Hello YouTube, it's Day the CEO. Today I am back with another trade recap. So obviously, the markets have been moving actually pretty good. I like the way the market's been moving recently. Some may say otherwise. I like this week. A lot of opportunities have been presenting themselves, and we were able to catch some nice moves to the downside on SPY. I actually ended up trading the downside on SPY yesterday, as you guys seen in the last recap, as well as I ended up trading the downside today. So we obviously closed around 446s yesterday, opened a bit lower around 443/444 levels today, and overall I was very bearish on the market. We had some very bearish news as well, and we kind of seen a lot of sellers kick in after this kind of sideways consolidation at the market open yesterday, trying to hold around the 442.75 key level is what I ended up signaling as well. And this was kind of the simple trade to start off the day. So we see this sideways action for the first kind of 10, 12, 15 minute time frame range, and then the sell-off ends up kicking in. So if we look at the 15-minute, here's a better example for you guys. Kind of this sideways candle, and then we had this massive sell, as we see here on the 15-minute. So going back here is how I position myself for this trade. So looking at this 442.75 key level, we have to realize either buyers are going to support and hold this level, and we'll see continuation back to the upside, maybe back to yesterday's highs and a push above yesterday's highs, or we can see a lot of weakness kick in, ask size increase, and sellers outweigh the buyers, and that's where we'll see this downside push. Now, I don't really trade much based off news, just off price action and analysis. So I was more focused on that. We ended up breaking right here, and I ended up adding my first 5 contracts to this position. So this is going to be a 10 contract position. So my first 5 contracts were added at this initial break as I seen a lot of weakness. We ended up pushing back to the 443.25 area. Now, this is where it's important to understand, okay, am I getting faked out on this trade? This 442.8 level, are the buyers holding? Because we did kind of wick as we sold off. Are we going to continue holding this level and break back up? So this is all really important to keep your stops. Personally, my stops were above this 443.6 key level. We didn't end up having enough buyers to push us back to our stop. And if that happened, we obviously could have seen a break to the upside, maybe even some more consolidation. So it's all managing and assessing your risk right here. So I actually ended up adding back more at this 443 level as we rejected the 443.25 level. I added another 5 contracts, and this is where I'm fully in my whole position. So added my first 5 at 643, then ended up adding more at 644, and then we kind of saw this sell-off. So this was my confirmation, and now what I'm doing is basically just staying patient and letting the trade play out. We've seen this downside candle, a very, very heavy downside move here, a little bit more consolidation, and as we push to this low of 442, I ended up taking 3 contracts off. We ended up falling a bit further down to 441.5 key level slash 441.45. On the way down, I ended up taking a few more off at 441.73. I ended up taking off another 4 contracts, and now I'm down to 3 contracts. We ended up pushing a bit down to 441. I kind of like to look at SPY. Obviously, my key levels are removed as I just removed them, but I ended up taking the rest of my position off at 441. So I kind of look at where buyers are coming in, where bids are coming in, to analyze and understand when I'm going to take profits. And I always like to slowly scale out of my position, especially if I'm going in, creating a starter position, then adding. It's always good to scale out. Now, obviously, as we push to 441, we see some continuation to even the 440s, then this sideways movement, and then sideways movement for a while. Then we've seen continuation all the way down to 437s, actually even the 436 level at one point, and that's where we kind of ended up closing around the 437s right here. So overall, today was a great trading day. this opening play on SPY had very, very massive downside, able to catch this move. And yeah, a lot of people aren't really catching the initial move, and then they're looking to get in at the wrong time. Like, for example, we're seeing this sell off, we're seeing sideways action. They're setting a level right here. If it breaks below here, then they're entering here and getting faked out as we push back to the upside. You want to make sure that you understand after a massive sell off, more than likely the stock, or in this case the indice, needs time to breathe. So we're looking for maybe a retest or a push back up, and then identifying where is there weakness, where is there a lot of sellers present, and now we look for our entry or our initial position to start off, which could be right here, and then we get this reject down, because what we're allowing ourselves to do is maybe analyze our risk to reward more. Is SPY going to push back down to these lows and then continue anticipating this break right here? We're able to catch this to this rather than this to this. Does that make more sense? So I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little recap video. And yeah, this was just a simple trade that I ended up taking today. If you guys have any questions, make sure to drop a comment down below. I appreciate everybody watching, and peace. Have a good night.